Whakapiri mai, whakatata mai. Tēnā rā tata katoa, ka tīmata I tēnei o te tātou nei kaupapa o te aiahine. I roto I tērā, koe nei te whakatauki mo tātou. A tākiri arangi, tākiri anuku. Tākiri te awa te a kia pōwai ki te ao, te kare āroto e. Ia ku rauranga tira mā, nau mai, whakatau mai rā. Hara mai ki tēnei anō te kaupapa mo tātou, I raro I tērā, o kia pōwai te pāki, te Whakamahera. I roto I tērā, ka tigage te mihi atu kia rātou, koronga ati ki te karanga o iwa. Aue rā hoki wairoa e, aue rā hoki wairoa e. Rātou kia rātou, tātou kia tātou, tēnā koutou katoa. Nau mai, whakatau mai rā, hara mai ki tēnei anō te kōrero mai te pēke nui o ANZ, ki te tautoko atu o koutou e mahi ana I roto I te Pākehī, tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou, nau mai, whakatau mai rā. We welcome you here this afternoon as part of the kaupapa of kia puawai te Pākehī. Nau mai, whakatau mai rā. This kaupapa being te Whakamahere. We look forward to the kōrero this afternoon. We hope you enjoy today. Tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou, nau mai rā. I'll hand it over to Mel. Tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā rā tātou katoa. Welcome along. My name's Melissa Frick, one of our business training managers, and we'd like to welcome you to our Whakamahere Pākehī, our business planning webinar today. Shortly, I'll introduce you properly to Carleen, who just did the mahi. I'll introduce you to David, Stephen, and we also have Luna helping us in the background with chat. Just a few things to let you know. We have auto muted you today. So our Pānui Whai Tikanga, or our important notice, is just letting you know our presentations do not replace any personalized advice. If you do want this for yourself or your business, you can get in touch with us on 0800 269 296, or we would love your feedback on today's presentation, and a survey will pop up at the end, and we'd love you to click on that if you'd like this and to give us feedback on today's session. Today we're using Zoom as our platform. Please, if you have any questions for myself or my colleagues as we go through, you can drop them into the chat box and we'll answer as we go through. If we can't as we're going through, there is a question and answer section at the end. Everyone has been auto muted today, and we are recording today's session for yourself to refer back to, or anyone else you know to watch it on our website at a later date. So drop those questions in there as you go along. Right, nā ka kaurio. I'm still getting better at my pronunciation at this point. I'd like to invite Carleen back on screen, Stephen and David. So Carleen did the mahi, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Carleen, to our audience.
Yeah, kia ora, Mel. Tēnā koutou katoa. Hey, look, it's just a real honour and a privilege for me to be here. I'm the kaitohu Rautaki Māori, the head of the Te Ao Māori strategy for ANZ. I also, motoku whakapapa, I affiliate to Te iwi o Te Ao Pauri, Te iwi Mōrehu o ngā puhi nui tonu. Te honori noku tēnei, e te mihi atu kia koutou. Just a real privilege to be here with you all today. Enjoy the kōrero. Kia ora.
David.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko nonga tāta maunga ko Utahina Te Awa no Rotorua hau, ko Ngāti Pākehā, ko Ngāti Tonga o Kuiwi, ko David Harrison, tōka wingua. Greetings everybody, born and raised in Rotorua, living here in Tāmaki now. I've been at ANZ for 15 years and spent the last decade working and supporting our Māori business customers. In this time, I've been fortunate to watch the Māori economy grow and see many of our customers flourish. And I guess a common theme across those successful businesses is that, you know, they've got a clear plan. So we actually talked a lot about this in our first webinar. And so I hope out of this session that this will provide you with some further detail and some tangible tips to help you approach this important mahi. Kia ora tātou.
Thank you. And Stephen.
Tēnā rā tātou katoa, ko Stephen Aho, no whakatū aho. So Stephen Cornt is my name. I'm coming to you from Nelson, and I'm one of the business training managers with the ANZ. Hope you enjoy today. Hope you take something from today. Probably one of the key things is take some action. So thanks for joining us. and I'm going to present the second half of the session. And Mel, back to you.
Thank you. So as I said, Melissa Frick, one of the business training managers, and I'm in the lovely Waitakere Ranges up here in Auckland, which is pretty sunny today. So great to have you all here. So what you're all probably wondering is what we're going to cover today. So we're here to talk about business planning and following our first Māori in Business webinar. So we all know that there's a clear link between planning and success. And I really know for a lot of Māori businesses out there how important your whānau and whakapapa is when it comes to your businesses. So when it comes to your business plan, that's something to think about as well, and putting them in your plan and being it clear. And if you were at our presentation with Blanche, David and Ben, they did talk a lot about this in the presentation. Don't worry if you missed it, it is going to be up on our website for you to watch later as well. So you want to think about what your why is and why that's important to you for your business, the future of the business, and what's your vision. So really being clear when you look at those for your business and around with the planning. So having a plan and sticking to that plan and getting things done. So what we're going to go through today is the steps, or the potama steps to planning. So in a business plan, there's 8 steps. Your executive summary that really summarizes everything, and it may be number 1 here, but we'll explain to you, you do that last. And we'll talk a bit more around that. Your goals and your objectives, so what you want to achieve. And I can't tell you enough, I've got a business with my husband that's 8 years on, is celebrating those milestones as you go along. Products and services, so what are you going to need in the business? A SWOT analysis, or otherwise strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Target customers. So what does your target customer look like? Where do they search for you? How do they find you? And how do you solve their problem or issue? Markets and sales strategy, assets and equipment, so what you need to run your business, and financial forecasts, so understanding those numbers for your business, you make those better decisions. Now, we have this wonderful template for you available to you on our anz.co.nz through our BizHub. There is a wealth of information for you as well. Luna has kindly put that in the chat box, the link to get to this, but this will help you write your business plan. And don't just write it and then put it in the drawer. Keep it as a document that you continually update as you go along in your business. Okay, so your executive summary. So as I said, this is important and it's part 1 of your business plan, but I recommend that you look at doing that a little bit at the end sometimes when you've worked through the whole process in the journey. So who is it for, so who are you writing it for? What sort of thinking about for your customer? How are you going to sell yourself on that first page? It's used as much to sell the idea as it does to summarize it. So you just want to think about that. How do you summarize what you're doing in there, getting started around it, all of those bits about selling yourself. So a little bit, how would you pitch to someone in an elevator around your business and what that problem or solution for them that it is that you solve. And you might want to think about a little bit in your whānau and your whakapapa, maybe how you're involved that in there around your values and things. Right, ngā te whanga, or your business goals and objectives. So when you think about goals, you really want to make sure that you're realistic. Otherwise, you could lose motivation. So a little bit, as I spoke at the beginning, is making sure you break things down and look at it as you celebrate along the way. So I set myself what some people would call crazy goal and did my first bodybuilding competition last year, and everyone goes, how are you going to do that full time with 3 kids? But I broke it down into weekly, daily targets of how many times I had to go to the gym and how we're going to eat. Again, achieve that goal, but it was breaking it down and not just looking at the end goal, following to get there, but breaking it down. Again, when it comes to your business and other goals, thinking of them being smart. So make the goal specific. So what's the specific thing you want to achieve? Make sure it's measurable. So what gets measured gets done. Make sure you can achieve it. So I always recommend having that bit of a stretch, pushing yourself a little bit further, but make sure it's something that you can also achieve so you feel you contain it. Make sure it's relevant and put a time on it. So put it by May next year, I want to have an increase in my profit by 2%, or it could be a monetary amount or something like that. So it gives you that goal. Where's your business going? So it's like you get in a car, where you're traveling to, what do you want to achieve, and how will you know when you've achieved it? And we are really good at keep going to that next step, but make sure you have those little milestone celebrations. Looking at your products and services. So describe what you're really offering, the key features and benefits of your products and services, and how they compare with your competitors, and how you're going to price them. And price is really important. You don't always have to be the cheapest or the most expensive, but understanding that for your customers and really understanding what your product or service does to solve someone's problem, because we all like that solved. So how does that fit in to them, and how do they search that for you? So keeping your pricing strategy reviewed and how you're going to price it. What is your added value? Do you offer great customer service? What is your point of difference? Do you offer an extended warranty? What is it that makes you different? Is it because you're a Māori business and you have that great whakapapa and whānau and those really awesome values in your business? What makes you stand out from the rest? Find out your customers' pain points and how you solve them, and use it in your language of your key features and benefits. And differentiate yourself from your online competitors. Give them that key difference. You know, you're a Māori business in New Zealand. You know, what is it that makes you really special out there for those customers to come and support you? So your SWOT analysis. So this is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So you can just get a bit of paper, you can crisscross this, you can draw this down, however you like to do it. And it's something to look at as you go along. But what are the strengths in their business that you do have? So, you know, do you have products in stock? You know, that's a massive one where a lot of businesses have supply demands, issues, deliveries, and logistics. So if you have stuff, that could be a big strength. Could be your brand really well established if you're an existing business. If you're new, it could be word of mouth or using your connections or your big network that you have out there. It could be just yourself and your staff and just what you offer and your strengths as well. Some weaknesses, it could be you're not digital savvy, or it could be that you're needing to upskill in some areas. You may not have an online presence. Or you could have reduced or low working capital. So that's the amount that you need to keep your business running on a day-to-day basis. Opportunities, there could be opportunities to transform your business to meet market demand. You could be going digital, you could be going online. You could even look to move premises or take yourself away from a premise. I saw an email the other day, makeup business, they're now doing stuff around medical. They were going to shut their store because of COVID and go online only, but now they've found a premises that's cheaper, bigger, and they can put all their businesses in one, and it's going to work out. So how can you pivot and change with what's going on? A new product, a new market, or even a service that complements your product could work well there. Any threats? So, you know, a lot of us didn't see around COVID, but as you know, those sort of things sometimes are hard to predict, but you could look at stuff if there's anything around any legislation that impacts you, could be a threat. Is there something coming up? There could be around business shutting down or potentially roadworks and not being able to get to your business if you're a restaurant or things like that for foot traffic. Supply chain, as I mentioned, is quite big and impacting a lot of people. Could be staffing. There's all sorts of things, logistics around there. So have a good play. One thing I would say, and it's a bit of a trait that we can do, is we can sometimes pick on ourselves in our business. Really look at what your strengths and opportunities. So try and balance the positives, if not have more positives than where your negatives are. At this point, I'd love to hand over to Stephen, my colleague, to take you through the rest.
Thanks, Mel. Just a couple of points just to cover off that Mel's mentioned. the business plan that you're going to write is for you, and it's something that needs to be personal to you. There are going to be other audiences, so there are going to be people that are going to be interested in what you're doing. There could be investors, other shareholders, your bank manager, your accountant, your solicitor. So just consider first off that it's for you. It's the collection of your thoughts and dreams and hopes and ideas onto paper. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be captured. So the key thing is really just capturing thoughts, and do that, and have it as a living document. It doesn't need to be cast in stone. And so as your business evolves and develops, then it's about changing with that as well. So as Mel mentioned, just the SWOT analysis is such a cool thing, and it can be a fantastic way to gather the thoughts and views of others associated with your business. You could do it with your staff. You could do it with other, key people to gather a view about your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And just thinking about this, is being a Māori business a strength? On its own, I'm going to say no. But if you've got a reason that it makes you stand out from the competition or gives you an advantage over the competition, and what those particular things might be, then yes, definitely it's an opportunity, because I think there are ways and means to take your culture, your heritage, your ways of caring for those around you and the environment and the future, that can actually make you stand out. So there's just my little thoughts on that. I want to take you through to a section, Kirataki Pū, your target customer. Who are the people that you want to be having as customers, or getting your message to your customers? And you might think, well, I'll take everybody. And sure enough, you could try and be everything to everybody, but what you will define over time is there is an ideal or perfect customer. Now, what I would love you to do, and if you could just do this in the chat over the next minute or so, is just type in what is your business, or what is your type of business. And I like to weave into my presentation hopefully some ideas and thoughts about different types of businesses as well. So if we look at our target customer and who we're looking to get as customers, and how we frame up our message, or frame up how you get to your ideal customer. Right, thank you. So we've got one here, small flock shearing. Now that is, quite a niche market, but ideally there are lots and lots of lifestyle blocks that will absolutely demand, and we'll use this as a really cool example, given first off the rank. So your target customer is going to be someone that owns a flock of animals that require shearing. Now, we're going to take not only, I've got a friend here at work, he's got two llama that need doing, and he really struggled to find someone to get them. So it's going to be sheep, it's going to be llama, it's going to be people with a flock less than, say, 50 as an example, and also probably there's some geographic issues as well. So how far am I prepared to travel, and thinking about just the logistics of getting places. The first thing we've got there is the value proposition. What value do you offer? And value is perceived quite differently by different people. Now, I want to take another step back and just think about what a business is. A business is an entity that solves problems, and you need to have in your area, you need to have enough people with the problem that you can solve. And that is a business. And so thinking about the problem that you solve for your customers is really key to understanding how you get to them. And so when you understand the problem that you solve and you understand there is enough of them, then you've got a business. If you don't have a problem, or you don't have enough people with the problem, you have a hobby. Your target market, you're going to look at the demographics or geographics. So demographics, is it male, female, the age group that you may well appeal to? We've got one here around beauty products. So I'm going to guess your target market is probably female, probably age maybe between 20 to 50, once again. And also within that group, will they have particular interests? So will they have an interest in, back to small block farming? Are they going to have interest in livestock blocks? Are they interested in natural health or well-being? Organics, another example as well. So really good example. So your target market is going to be interested in health benefits, interested in organic, but also there's probably some geographic issues in terms of getting your product to your local market, or are you going to be able to overcome delivery issues as well? So some research around, so getting back to writing your plan and getting your thoughts together, how big is my market? And Statistics New Zealand is going to be a really super way of understanding the number and type of people in your geography. And you can use their services to really give you some good data if you're looking for people that might be retired, people with young families, kids, I mean, families, no kids, that sort of thing is going to help you define who you're looking to get your message to. And the last thing around your target customer is, what is your competitive advantage? Now, your competitive advantage can be one of many, or can be multiple things. It could be your hours of operation. It could be the speed at which you can get to market. It could well be unique or particular product. It could be that you have great strategic relationships. So really important to understand what your competitive advantage is. And if you tell me about your business and I can go, so what? You maybe haven't quite found the advantage. And also looking at, back to the value proposition, what is the problem that you solve? And I'll give you this really quickly. The problems that you solve will save money, save time, make money, solve a problem, make me healthier. So save time, save money, make money, solve a problem, or make my life easier. And oh, I forgot the last one again. I only just said it. So just think about those things as to how you interact with your customers. So target customer, really important. So it's, just gather those thoughts. And once you define it, the really cool thing when you have a target customer, you can then really define and refine how you present your message. So how you present your message online, in brochures, in the media, and it will really define, because my target customer as maybe retired people and how I promote to them is going to be quite different if my target customer is maybe younger and have particular interests. So just think about that. So kura taki pū, your target customer, really important, and you will define it over time. Our next section, Rautaki mina hoko. So looking at your marketing strategy and sales planning, and this is probably the issue or the area that most people struggle with. Businesses don't fail because of the business owners not being good at what they do. In this country, Aotearoa, we are fantastic exponents of our craft, but what we are not getting is, maybe the mechanics of business. And I think that's the biggest advantage. So for all of you starting your business, and for those of you in the new stages, the world and your customer base are blissfully unaware of who you are, where you are, and what you do. And that is the top of the funnel. And then we can lump everybody in. But once we start to look at our target market and how we get our message out, so our message can be spread through many different channels, and that's probably a workshop or webinar in its own. But when we define our target market, start getting our message out, you will start to generate some leads. Leads are fantastic. And the leads that you generate could well be from signing up to your newsletter, joining your Facebook page, visiting your website, picking up a rack card, talking with you in the street. It's been, surprising that, you might have a branded vehicle or a t-shirt and or corporate sort of uniform. I've talked to these people on the street and picked up a business card thinking I'll do business with them at some time in the future. So I've become a lead, not yet engaged. And I think an important thing to understand here is that you are ready to do business now. You are ready to sell. You are ready for customers. Remember, your customers haven't got to the point for their need to buy. Their need hasn't, or their itch isn't ready to be scratched yet. They're not ready until sometime in the future. So you're going to be ready for when that time happens. You get to prospects. Now, prospects are in your target market and have expressed an interest. And this is probably the time that I have the biggest letdown as a customer. And so this is where I want you to really think about, how am I going to manage prospects? So a prospect emails you. A prospect rings you and wants you to call them back. A prospect walks into your store and is ready to do business. And this is the big letdown in terms of, I don't get responded to, I don't get engaged with, and I'm ignored. So this is I think, a real key, and it's in gold for a really good reason, because the gold is happening now. So how do I engage? I reply promptly. I interact with customers that might come into my store, and I respond to inquiries that might be an email or a phone call, or a message through Facebook as an example. So consider how you're going to manage that. Really important here, the early bird catches the worm. The quicker and the more prompt you are in responding, the better off that you are going to be as a business that's interested in its customers. So we get to customers. They have invested in your offering, and the customers, it is easier to get an existing customer to come back than it is to find a new one. So that needs to be in your plan. Now, the tip of the iceberg, or the tip of the funnel here, and well worth spending some time talking about, are your raving fans. Now, here's just in the chat, and I would love to hear from all of you, because all of us do it. We become raving fans of customers, of businesses that we are customers of. And I want you to just think about, in the last few days, what type of business, or which business, have you been a raving fan of and recommended to somebody else? And just as an example, we have just booked some great walks. So over summer, we're doing the Milford track and the Rootburn track. And there's been a lot of commentary on, thanks, Rosanna, lovely, thank you. Māori apparel, farmlands, beautiful, yeah. you know, and for different reasons, we will be raving fans. But anyway, on back to Facebook, there was a whole lot of comments about, you know, transport options. And so I then, you know, became a raving fan by recommending some of the businesses that I know in Fiordland that will do a great job getting people from point A to point B. We are raving fans. You will have raving fans in your community talking about you. You will get new customers from these raving fans. Here is the one thing that I want you to do. Really simple. All you need to do, say thank you. All you need to do is ring them. Thank you for the new customer. Thank you for the support that you have given my business. And with that, they will feel amazing and they will do it over and over and over again. So that's our funnel. Rotake mina hoko in terms of understanding your marketing strategy. Now, let's look at our stuff. Nā rara no nā tapu tapu. So the assets and equipment that the business needs to run. And I think you need to think about, if you're in a startup business, if you're growing business, or even an established business, this is key. You cannot run your business without thinking about what you need in the future around its growth and what it needs. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's pretty obvious, really, but just think about, one, do you need to own all of your plant and equipment, or is leasing an option? Now, just a little tip here as well. There are finance leases, there are operating leases. If you're going down this path, please have a conversation with your accountant prior to signing up anything to make sure that these are the most tax effective ways and means of you doing that. Thinking about the equipment you need for the future, and maybe it's new equipment, maybe bigger, maybe more. It comes at a cost, and so considering how you're going to finance plant and equipment, and you know, being forearmed is forewarned. You might not think it's only, I'm going to need this maybe in 5 years' time, or when my business turnover gets to a certain point. But having a plan to replace equipment or to enhance what you've already got, it's not going to come as a big shock, because time goes really quickly. Intellectual property, or IP, this is so important, and thinking about protecting your brand, your website, the things that you develop that are really critical to your business success, and they have value. So making sure that that intellectual property, you might be doing inventing, you might have recipes, you might have some trademarks or copyright type things, so they all fall into that and are well worth protecting. Stock is a significant asset for many businesses. The one trap that I think is worth talking about is not trying to be everything to everybody. Having every color, every size, every option available in stock will come at a huge cost in terms of capital, plus you need to store it, you need to maintain it, you need to, you also run the risk of obsolescence and damage and theft. So just on the concept of stock, just to consider the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of your customers will buy 20% of your stock. 80% of your customers will use 20% of your services or what you might offer. So when it comes getting back to writing your plan, just consider what your stock holding needs to be and how much capital is tied up in stock. The final point around the business that you create and the assets that you create is the need to protect them. And insurance is a critical part of running a business. Now, it's not just the plant and equipment, but it's also looking at managing risk and the risk of running a business, or whether it's the cyber risk, whether it's public liability, statutory liability. director's liability. There's lots of things. So the one thing that I will recommend, and have this as part of your plan, that you should be engaging with a broker that will put together an insurance package that is right and appropriate for your business, not a thing you DIY, in my opinion. So that's dealing with our assets and equipment. Don't want to spend any more time on that. The final section that I want to look at, he kite mataranga, which is your toolkit. And the one toolkit that you need is around the numbers. And this is, I think, one of the biggest opportunities for business owners, is to have a handle or an understanding of how their business runs and ticks. And I think, to be honest, if I was to line up a whole lot of business owners and ask them the one thing that scares them or they're not that interested in, it is going to be the numbers. But such an important thing for long-term business success. And just quickly, 3 things. We will be running separate webinars on especially cash flow forecasting, because it's such a key thing. So we're not going to go into it in detail. But the first thing I'd like you to understand, and if you want to read more about these, please go to the Biz Hub, and we'll share that with you, where there is separate articles on all of these for you to extend your knowledge on these. But break even, and Luna's shared that with you. Break even, or what I would call the start line. What is the number of hours you need to sell, the number of items you need to sell, the number of whatever it might be, widgets that you've got before you start making money for you. And the break-even point is going to be the point that you have met all of your other obligations, and then we're meeting, we're making profit for you. So we can break down break even into an annual target, a monthly target, even a weekly target. In some cases, it could be even a daily target that you need to get to know that you've met all of your overheads and I've got my motor running. The next is our profit and loss forecast. And any new business is going to, this is going to be a key part if you're going to look to raise finance from banks, from other shareholders. Then having a profit and loss forecast to be able to demonstrate that you can run a business profitably. Now, profit and loss for a reason, that maybe in the startup phase, it's not profitable. I think 2 features that happen in startup: 1, it costs more; 2, it takes longer. So, that makes it more challenging. But the direction that your business is going, so the GPS, that the goal that we've got in 1 year, in 2 years, and 5 years, this is what we know about our business now. And the other key thing is that the profit and loss forecast is something that you will keep amending. You will keep changing. It's what I would call the no surprise document, in that as you develop your business, as you learn more, as you go on your journey, there will be the opportunity to keep enhancing it. Some things are going to be positive, some things maybe not positive, but that doesn't matter. What it is going to do is take away surprises, and because the only surprises that you want are birthdays and Christmas. There are no, having business surprises that jump out at you aren't generally great ones. So the profit and loss forecast is going to be dealing with your business transactions and your changing dynamic, so you stay on top of where your business is going in terms of its direction. And last but not least, the last piece of your kete or your toolkit is going to be a cash flow forecast. And a cash flow forecast is going to be recording and understanding the cash. And more businesses will fail due to running out of cash than anything else. And keeping your an understanding of your cash situation is just vital. And cash flow forecasting, looking at everything coming in and out of your business. And we run a separate webinar on this just to get a handle around managing cash flow. It's more than just writing out a cash flow forecast document. It's about understanding how people pay you, how you pay others, terms of trade. And so this toolkit, these financial forecasts, I think, are a key part of a business. So these forecasts, so nā matapai patua, patia, putia, I think one thing that more business owners in New Zealand generally need to have as part of their toolkit that they don't have, and that are going to help you not only start but run successful businesses when you have this as part of your business management. So it's about putting time aside, not just for doing the work, which is also key, but if you're taking on business ownership, then the behaviors of business owners and the good behaviors of business owners are going to be around having time looking at the numbers. And it's not about abdicating responsibility to your accountant or your bookkeeper. You can delegate responsibility or tasks, but ultimately as the business owner, you need to be over this and understand the role that each of these has in managing your business affairs. So that's all from me around looking at the parts of a plan. So just to finish off, so arataki, so I just wish to recap what we've dealt with, and then I'm going to hand over to David. So just looking at the tools that we have available here at ANZ, all of them are free, and we would really wish that you at least take a look and look at these. So your business plan is a living document. We do have the template, which is a free download. It is a editable PDF document, and it's something you can play with. Set yourself goals that are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, and that will help refine your goals. Not everything needs to be done today. Look at the numbers, and cash flow and profit forecasting, while scary, I know, they are an art, not a science. And the more that you become familiar with them, the better off you're going to be, and a better business manager, owner, executive you are going to be. The business plan is not set in stone. I'll give you an example of the best one that I've ever seen. It was one of those plastic, sleeve documents the kids have for school. And this was a lady, and she just had all of her business plan tucked in there. Some of it was typed out, some of it was just handwritten. And when she had great ideas, she would just take it out and write all over it and capture thought. Just as a little funny story, just to finish off, and all about capturing thought. When do you have great ideas about your business? And what time of the day, what environment are you in when you have great ideas about your business? Just in the interest of time, if you want to share them, that's great. But I won't be surprised if someone is thinking, I have great ideas in the shower. It seems to be the incubator of thought, or driving the car, or out walking, or doing gardening, or doing something completely unrelated to your business. So find a way to capture thought. Whether you have a pen and paper in your pocket, you all probably have a phone. Use the notes page on your phone just to write that down, because the one thing I'll guarantee is you'll have another idea and you'll forget the great thought. Please use the online tools that we have available. There is no shortage of support here at ANZ or through business.govt.nz to help businesses succeed. We want you to be successful. There is only so much that we can do, but we will provide you with all the support that you can lap up. So thank you all for listening to my session. I want to hand over to David now to lead us through some questions and answer sessions, and also through to the final part. So David, over to you.
Kia ora, Stephen. Korua ko Mel. Ka mihi kia korua mō tō kōrero mōhio. Thanks for that, Mel and Stephen. Starting and growing a business is not easy. It requires passion and lots of hard work, and obviously having a plan is a critical part of that. But it's also really important to surround yourself with a winning team. This might include your lawyer if you're looking at leases, or your accountant to help you with your cash flow. There's also some other great support networks for Māori businesses, and I wanted to shout out to Te Puni Kōkiri, Amotai, Potama Trust, Māori Women's Development Incorporation, and there's also a whole raft of Māori business networks across the country, all of which are helping to tautoko Māori businesses. And banks too, you know, we have a role to play in supporting. Me pēr tātou e tautoko ana I ngā kiritaki. What are we doing to support Māori business? Well, there's kind of three key areas that I wanted to talk about. The first one, Stephen's actually covered off quite a bit, and that is that we offer a whole lot of free resources, insights, and tools. This webinar is another example. We have another webinar coming around cash flow forecasting. We produce tons of economic research every day if you like to stay really well read, but really we just encourage you to use these resources because they are free and they can help you start and grow your business. The second key area is really around that basic day-to-day banking stuff, which we all expect, but having good functional day-to-day banking services is a critical part to running any business. So I encourage you to see value in investing time working with your bank to get set up properly. And then our third area is access to finance. And this is not for everyone, but it can help a business accelerate its growth or get to the next level. And the best thing really you can do if you're approaching your bank to seek lending is to be prepared, have this plan that Stephen and Mel have just talked about. And in simple terms, the bank's looking to answer two questions, which is what do you want the money for and how are you going to pay that back? And included in this is how will you pay it back if things don't quite go to plan? If your plan can kind of articulate and answer those questions, then you're kind of most of the way there. So that's just a brief snapshot on the areas that we think we can offer support to you. So happy to take questions from here, but back to you, Mel. Kia ora tātou.
Sorry, I thought I'd clicked unmute, talking to myself. Sorry. Thank you, David and Stephen. So now we have opportunity for any questions for those in the audience that you have for David, Stephen, Carleen, or I. So Stephen and Carleen, you can pop back on camera. Any questions that anyone in the audience has around business planning that they'd like to ask us? We had some nice comment there from Vaughan saying they like the no surprise document for the P&L, but would consider the CFF to be no surprise document because it's updated more frequently and is known as being the truth. So yeah, very cool. Great comment there. Thank you. Stephen and I have been getting tips from Carleen and David for our pronunciation. So thank you for those comments in there. We've got a great range of businesses. More comments there at the moment. Oh, we might have a question coming in. Sophie, great. Hi, Sophie. Kia ora. Where can we direct business bank queries to if we bank with you but no longer have a bank manager? So David, did you want to do that, or you want me to start with the?
No, I can start there. Kia ora, Sophie. Yeah, if you no longer have a dedicated bank manager, you know, we do have our Māori business at anz.com website email address that you can email, or through our web on our anz.co webpage, which I think Luna's just dropped there. You can contact us there if you like, and that might be a good start point. Great,
thank you. Yeah. Next question. Profit and loss, does the GST feature as a line item? Do you want that, Stephen? I know you'd love it.
Oh, yes, I'm all over that one. So in a profit and loss document will not include GST. So profit and loss excludes GST. The cash flow forecast, however, will include GST because it's something that's going in and through the bank account. So profit and loss excludes, cash flow forecast includes.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you.
Easy.
Thank you, Ara and Stephen. Any other questions? You're letting us off lightly there, team. Oh, there we go. Right, for starting up a new business and also being young but dreaming big, I like dreaming big, where should I start after a business plan? So I think, well, I'll start and then I think, always have a go at starting a business. Well done. And look, it doesn't matter what age, I think always dream and dream big. And after the business plan, I think, just start implementing. Once you've got your business plan, you've got your goals and get stuck in, really. I would say have a go there. Maybe look at coming to our cash flow webinar that we've got coming up next to make sure you understand those numbers and can look at that and making sure you're making those informed decisions around those numbers. Anything to add there, Stephen?
Yeah, I think it's about having goals, and you mentioned that. So just to recap on goal setting, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And the type of business that you're setting up. I think it's about being really realistic in terms of where you start in the market. And probably I'm maybe reading between the lines and thinking, well, how do I start with a young person, and also how do I generate capital? And certainly, that's the business plan is going to help you define how much capital I'm going to need, which I think is a really important thing. But then the second part of that is, well, if I'm looking for capital, I'm going to need a business plan. So the two go hand in hand. And I think there are plenty of young entrepreneurs in New Zealand, and I think that the common theme that across all of them is that they do dream big. They've got to start somewhere, but they will have a plan. So I think that's the key part there.
Thank you, Stephen. Ben Carlins asked for you to contact him about the Multi-Language Commission. So we'll maybe do that offline. You can connect together to talk about that. Ben's put his email. So Ben, I'll connect you both. We've got that there. Thank you, Ben. From Jim, thanks for the great resources in the link. If there's any advice available to review the completed planning template, is there any advice available to review? So you're asking us to review. Sorry, Jim, I'm not. Thanks for the great. Is there any advice available? So if you want personalized advice, Jim, as I said at the start, you can contact us. If you're looking around the template, maybe send me some more, but I'm just not quite 100% sure what you're exactly asking there. Vaughan, does ANZ offer a business assessment tool for Pākehā to complete and allow them to see their possible blind spots from a high level before commencing the to complete that allow them to see the possible blind spots from a high level before commencing the business plan? I don't know if there's such a assessment tool to do the blind spots. I guess your SWOT analysis is to help you see your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So I would be using the SWOT analysis myself. Any further on that, Stephen?
No, I think you're pretty much there. But I think looking for blind spots is it's sort of the needle in the haystack a little bit sometimes. And I think it's about writing the plan, share it with other key people that you trust, and people that are honest, as opposed to yes people. And because you want critical review, really, because that's where the blind spots are going to sit. Maybe talk to your bank manager, talk to your accountant. Business mentors, I think, are fantastic. So I think there are ways and means to find them, and sometimes you've just got to, you know, get cracking, and the blind spots maybe will become evident down the track. I'm just going to leap into one question here from Tanya. And I won't read the whole question, but essentially is, when's the best time to set up my own brand website? I think the first thing you need to do, Tanya, is make sure that you secure your URL. So your www. whatever your business name is going to be, .co.nz or .nz or .com or whatever it's going to be. And then it's the sort of thing that you can sort of develop over time. And as your business grows, your website will grow with it. Without, you know, don't let that be the thing that you're waiting for, that you can, you know, you can get online and make it happen, and then let your website grow around that.
Thank you. Trish, look, completely with your question. Look, you can email us through in the multi-business team, and we can definitely have a chat about you looking at those multi-business services. So happy to look at helping you.
You just want to, this is the other thing too. Vaughn's asked the same question. I just want to send you off to a resource which we haven't mentioned so far, but a resource called Digital Boost. And Digital Boost is fantastic around that whole online presence. So it's a government initiative to get businesses online or better equipped online, and it's a free service, and it is amazing in terms of what you can find and how you can develop your business digital journey, really, not only websites, but also some of that digitizing within your business as well. So Digital Boost, I recommend.
Great. And I think that's the last of the questions from everyone. If there's any follow-up, you can email us as we put in the chat. You can come back to us, and if there's anything else, we'll follow up with you following on from today's event. At this point, I'd like to just thank you, remind you to provide feedback in the feedback form that pops up, and hand over to the lovely Carleen to close. Thank you, Stephen and David, for everything today, and Luna in the background. Carleen.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou katoa. Hey, look, it's been a pretty fast hour actually to go by just like that, and here we are. Some wonderful hints and tips and comments from our team. So he mihi tēnei kia koe, Mel. Thank you, Mel, for leading us today. For Stephen, your leadership and direction, and David, he mihi tēnei kia koe. And equally to Luna, who's been helping in the back. Whānau, we appreciate that being in business isn't easy. I had my own business for 16 years. And sometimes the hardest piece of all is just taking it from here and putting it onto a piece of paper. We encourage you to do that. And that's really the encouragement that came from us overall as a team. But equally, the next one is building that relationship with your bank manager. Send us an email and engage in that conversation. Here at the ANZ, we're here to help. This is the second of our webinars under the kaupapa of Kia Puhowai Te Pāki. We really want your businesses to flourish and do really well. I roto I tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou te whānau. He mihi kawana kia koutou mō tō koutou piringa mai kia mātou o te pēke nui nei o ANZ. Ki te rongo mai ki ngā kōrero. Kia koutou, kia pai tō ahi, ko timata i tērā I roto I te whakatauki, ka timata mai anō tātou I roto I te whakatauki. Ana, tākiri arangi, tākiri anuku. Tākiri te rangi ātea I roto I tērā anō, kia puawai ki te ao, te kare āroto e. Tēnā koutou katoa. Have a lovely afternoon. Kia ora rā.